What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Culture Godz channel. I'm your host, Mike Nix, also the Herald of the Gods. And I have some thoughts on and a review on I Saw the TV Glow. Now, at first I was gonna come in here and rip this movie apart. I was going to destroy this movie. At first, it was not worthy of the gods. But then, as someone who is a pure artist, born bred artist, and I understand artist mindset, whether it's writing, cinematography, music, whatever, I said this movie needs to probably just sit with me for a little bit. And I'm also big on perspective. I understand that the world view isn't my view. I understand that, beauty and art is in the eye of the beholder. The saying is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I believe the beauty in art is in the eye of the beholder. You're going to look at it, if you go to an art museum, you're going to see a painting that some people will look at and be like, this painting reminds me of fish. And then someone else comes by and is like, no, this looks more like stars at night with an angel walking through a field of daisies while a shark bites at her heels and Godzilla is in the background moonwalking while King Kong is on the tower, with a ball of yarn playing the Nintendo 64. Like, that's what art is. Everybody interprets shit different. Movies are no different. The problem with movies is a lot of writers and directors and people that make films, especially nowadays, are making it for the money. So they're doing just like the music industry. It's built on generating as much money as possible. You want to be as commercial, you want to go as pop as you possibly can, right? Because that makes the most money. So the human brain, the way it operates is we follow the road less traveled like water. We go through the path of least resistance to get there. If my brain has to do too much thinking and I'm trying to be entertained, I don't want it. That's what humans typically are like, right? I'm not saying my brain. Sometimes my brain can be like that. But as an artist, though, I understand that there's beauty in things that sometimes it takes a while to kind of marinate up here. Sometimes you just got to sit in it for a minute and reflect on it. You might not get it the first time. My point is, this was one of those movies. This is probably the first movie I've seen in a very long time that hit me like that. So I saw the TV Glow. It's advertised as a horror movie, but it's more of a 90s nostalgic vibe to it. If you are from my generation, and I was born in the 1900s, kids, there was, in Nickelodeon, there was a series of shows late at night, right before like the old school black and white shows would come on, called Snick. And Are You Afraid of the Dark was one of them. This show kind of gives me Goosebumps vibes. Goosebumps had a show back in the day too. And it's just basically like teenage horror type shit. And so this was kind of like a throwback to that. It felt like it had a real dreamy memory type feel to it, The cinematography in this film and the way the lighting and everything was shot is absolutely gorgeous. When I first saw this movie, I absolutely hated it. When I came away from it, I was like, yo, I didn't get any of that. There was maybe like one little thing that I got out of it. Other than that, I was like, it just didn't hit for me, But the story premise basically is a kid named Owen. He's a teenager and he is awkward and is played by Justice Smith. And he becomes friends with an older girl who is also a teenager named Maddie. And now they bond over this show called the Pinko Peg. And Pinko Peg is a show that is a show in this movie that is a throwback to the shows I mentioned from the 90s, the teenage horror-ish, but rated G type shows, Goosebumps, and Are You Afraid of the Dark and shit like that. So, they bond over this movie and he comes over and sneaks over to her crib and they watch this movie late at night, and there's different tapes, different episodes and shit until he gets all the way through it. Well, he's real awkward in his skin. There's a moment there where, she asks him if he likes girls. He says he doesn't know for real. Then she's kind of awkward as well. She seems real, what we would have called back then real emo, real dark, closed in, posture kind of off, wearing your sleeves over your hands type girls, wearing long sleeve, big baggy clothes type shit. And but time goes on, and Owen has a mom that's dying, and his stepdad is just an asshole, right? Maddie at the same time has a father who's abusive. They don't really show a lot of that. They don't show like her getting beat. They don't show him getting beat or nothing like that. It's kind of off to the side and it's implied. But time goes on, and Maddie just kind of gets fed up with being an outcast at school because I believe that she's, kind of battling with her sexuality at the time, and it's awkward. Hormones are hitting. We all been through it. Hormones are hitting. So, she thinks she likes girls, and I think she hits on one of the girls that was her friend. And apparently the friend told the whole school that she tried to grab her boob or something, and now the whole school hates her. So now she's an outcast. And then she gets beat at home. So she has nowhere to go, right? The only two worlds that exist when you're a kid is in your home and school. That's it. As an adult, you can exist in 1,000 different worlds, right? But as a kid, if those two worlds aren't inviting, you kind of feel lost. So she ends up running away, and Owen ends up moving on with life. He don't know where she went. He still wants to watch the shows. He still clings to this show, The Pinko Peg. And The Pinko Peg is like a horror. It's got some weird imagery. It's these two girls that have superpowers, and they fight back Mr. Melancholy, who's like the master monster who sends these monsters out, kind of like the Power Rangers, how Rita and Lord Zed would send monsters down to Earth like all the time, and the Power Rangers would have to link up and beat them up and kill them and shit. So you could throw like Power Rangers and Are You Afraid of the Dark combined together. That's basically what it's like. So he grows up, and in the middle of the movie, he starts narrating it all of a sudden. He wasn't doing it at the beginning, but then he starts, and he talks about how, he grows up. I think his mom dies. His stepdad, I think, ends up passing away or something. Well, he has to become a man. So there's a moment where he's talking about like, he starts his own family now, and he's really happy with it. Then fast forward, he meets Maddie again. And Maddie pops up out of nowhere, and he's like, yo, where you been? And she was like, yo, I got this crazy theory, but we've been in the Pinko Peg. I've been in the Pinko Peg all along, but you need to watch this certain episode so you can see what I'm talking about. She disappears on him again. And fast forward, he's an older man. He's working at this like arcade places like Chuck E. Cheese. And there's a moment where he, freaks out on everybody. And then he goes into the bathroom and he opens himself up, and his inside of it looks like a TV that, once the shows, when the shows that are airing are over with, it's like just glowing, and he's freaking out in the bathroom. And there's a really sad scene in the end where he comes out and he's like drooling, and, he's an older man, he's crusty lips and all that. And he's apologizing to everybody, but no one's paying any attention to him. They just think he's an old crazy man, right? After that movie went off, like I said, y'all, I was lost. I was like, what? It was a very abstract movie. If you ever heard of like abstract paintings or eclectic type art, that's what this felt like. This wasn't an Avengers movie. This wasn't Batman. This wasn't a Tom Cruise flick, where there's a superstar and then there's a plot. The plot thickens. There's a midway, and then the superstar goes in, or the star of the movie saves the day. This is not that at all. I had to do some thinking about this, and I also had to make sure that, I wasn't missing some things. So I did a lot of trying to researching the director and, also the writer, to see like, where did the motivation for this movie come from? So the writer of this movie is Jane, I want to say her name right, Schoenbrunn. I'm going to say Schoenbrunn. That's what I'm going to say. I hope I'm saying that right. Who I believe is transgender. And this movie was a projection of, some of what she felt going through that transitional stage. But what I wanted to talk about for real, like I said, I initially was going to come in here and just burn this movie alive. But it's a good thing I sat on it and did some research and really looked into it. I believe in artistic integrity. And what I mean by that is I believe that no matter what's put out by an artist, you whether you love it or hate it, however you feel about it, you feel something. That's what art is about. And we're not all going to agree and like the same things, but sometimes we just miss things that were there all along. It just takes some time to sink in. I didn't walk away with anything from this movie at the end, but when I went back and thought about scene by scene what each scene was doing and how I could relate to it, it really hit home. So being a kid, being in middle school, going through puberty, not having friends. I was in the military family for a long time, or for most of my my childhood, and we moved around place to place to place to place to place. I went to a different school every year for 12 years straight. No, I would say 12 years straight. I'm sorry. I would say 8 years out of the 12 years of me going to school. Every year was a different school. And there was a lot of times where I was a new kid and I felt alone. I felt, the outcast. I didn't talk like them. I didn't dress like them. I didn't know what they were doing and talking about. I wasn't in anybody's groups or nothing like that. So I had to find my own little group of friends sometimes. Sometimes it was just me. And that loneliness, that feeling of no one cares and loves me, and then only to go home and your parents are assholes. I understand that. You feel boxed in. You feel like there is no escape. And I think that type of mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Mental strain and mental stress. Kids aren't built for that. They're not set up for that. Adults, we can handle it a little better because we know how to process shit. Your boss starts acting stupid. You understand, okay, I can't punch this motherfucker in the face because I need my job to pay my bills. Cool. So you learn how to kind of diffuse, kind of just cool off, go out, maybe smoke something after work, have a little drink, wind down, you can do it all again tomorrow. But as kids, man, like there is no outlet sometimes. If you're going through it at home, school's your outlet with your friends, right? If you're going through it at school, your home should be your outlet. Home base is. And I felt that in the movie. I don't know what it's like to be transgender or to question my sexuality or anything like that. That's not for me to speak on. That's not my battle. But I can see how people that went through that struggle will watch this movie and was really moved by it. That part didn't move me. The part at the end, though, where he was kind of flipping out, that part was a little sad. You know what I'm saying? It was really sad. Bravo to Justice Smith, because he has been in a lot of hit and miss movies over the years. And as I put in the last review with him, the American Society of Magical Negroes, that movie was trash. You can throw that whole movie out. But this movie was artistic. It was beautiful. And the fact that I'm seeing that so many different people got so many different things from it, that speaks to me as an artist too. That says something, that it's not just about whether I liked it, whether I cried, whether, I had the same reaction as everybody else. That doesn't matter. What matters is the impact that the art makes on the culture. And to that I say, the gods are pleased. Hey, so that's my review on I Saw the TV Glow. It was a good movie. I would say to you guys, check it out. You know what I'm saying? For yourselves. I can't say if it was, I'm not even going to give it a rating or nothing like that. I say just check it out, interpret it for yourself, figure it out, whether you like it or not. And what you gain from it is what you gain from it, and much respect to Jane for this piece of art. I'll see you on the next video. Pull up, and don't do it for me. Do it for the gods.